The Elaine Bromley tragedy. The tragic death of Elaine Bromley in 2005 during a routine operation serves as a stark case study in clinical human factors. The events highlight a systemic breakdown in communication and a failure to follow established protocols for a recognized anesthetic emergency. Elaine Bromley was taken into the operating theatre for a routine elective sinus surgery. The anesthesiologist begins the induction, but quickly encounters an unforeseen difficulty. Her airway collapses. This creates a can't intubate, can't ventilate situation, a recognized and dangerous condition for which clear guidelines exist. The lead anesthesiologist, by his admission, lost control of the situation, making multiple failed attempts to secure Elaine's airway. Elaine's oxygen saturation levels plummeted and her color changed significantly, indicating a severe lack of oxygen. A critical loss of time awareness by the clinicians began. The team became focused on repetitive, ineffective tasks rather than stepping back to reassess the situation and follow the established emergency protocols. Nurses were summoned to assist with the increasingly dire situation. Unlike the consultants, the nurses were acutely aware of the seriousness of the problem and what needed to happen next according to established protocols. A nurse, recognizing the need for an emergency surgical airway, dispatched a colleague to retrieve the tracheotomy set. Upon her return, she announced that the set was available, but her statement was met with no response from the consultants. The critical suggestion was ignored. Another nurse, who walked into the theatre and immediately saw her blue discoloration due to lack of oxygen and deteriorating vital signs, instinctively called the ICU to secure a bed. When she returned and announced that an ICU bed was available, the consultants reportedly looked at her as if to ask, "Why are you overreacting?" She felt compelled and cancelled the bed reservation. This communication breakdown was a clear sign of a steep authority gradient. The nurses knew what needed to happen, but, as they later stated at the inquest, did not know how to broach the subject with the consultants. There was no clear leadership, and a sense of confusion over who was in charge led to a severe breakdown in the decision-making process. After more than 20 minutes of severe hypoxia, Elaine's airway was finally secured, but the damage was already done. Despite the significant brain damage caused by oxygen deprivation, Elaine was taken to the recovery room rather than the ICU for an hour and a half. This decision demonstrated a continued lack of recognition of the severity of the situation. The assumption was that she would wake up naturally, which she never did. She was later transferred to the ICU, but it was far too late. 13 days after the operation, Elaine's life support was switched off, heartbreakingly leaving 2 children and a loving husband. The subsequent investigation revealed that the consultants working on Elaine had a lack of shared awareness of the situation. The communication between them dried up, leading to a series of critical errors that could have been avoided had the well-recognized guidelines been followed and the clear, correct suggestions from the nurse been heeded. The tragedy of Elaine Bromley is now a mandatory case study in medical training, emphasizing the profound importance of teamwork, communication, and a culture where every voice is heard. Hierarchy often creates an authority gradient, where those in a higher position may feel that their rank makes them the sole authority. This can lead to a belief that their subordinates' input is less valuable or even irrelevant. A crucial question for any organization is whether you have the right managers in place to truly listen when someone from a lower hierarchical level raises a serious safety concern. It's a question worth asking yourself honestly. Could you confidently approach your manager with a serious issue, knowing they would listen without judgment and take your input seriously. This is the essence of a healthy company culture, one where psychological safety is prioritized and every employee, regardless of their position, feels empowered to speak up.